Okay, my angelic baby kittens, we are at episode 27. And I did go back and look and do like a timeline search on my notes and everything. And I know that y'all think that we are like halfway through the month and some of y'all are scared. We are on day 8, you guys. So don't worry, fear not. We have a lot of ways to go, okay? So on to the story. I have walked my little ass upstairs because I was going to go into Harley's room and get myself pajama pants. And what do I walk in and do my eyes deceive me? But I see a pink robed woman and she is massaging my man's. And I'm like, wait a fucking second. I'm literally standing outside the vault door like a little robber in the night thinking like, what the fuck have I just walked into? I'm like, I'm going to walk in and see how they react. So I walk in, I'm like, hey, they act like they are sitting there studying the Bible, y'all. They both look at me and Harley's like, oh, hey, babe. I'm like, what's going on? Fucking Dana, she don't even look at me. She's just continuing at the task at hand, making dough in my man's back. And I'm like, what y'all doing? And Harley's like, oh, I just have some like knots in my back. And so Dana's helping me with that. I'm like, uh-huh. And that seems appropriate for your sober living coach. Okay. I turn and he's like, wait, what? I'm like, nothing, Harley. I'm like, I just came up to get some pajama pants. And he was like, oh, well, are you coming to bed? I was like, no, it seems like you're occupied, so I'm good. He was like, what? I'm like, nothing, Harley. I walk over, I walk into his left side walk-in massive closet, which is the one that has all of his long sleeves and pants. And I look around and I find some black chrome hearts, little joggers, and I put them on and I just sashay my way back. And he's like, wait, come back here. And I was like, good night. Have fun, you two. I walk downstairs. I am not usually a passive aggressive girl, y'all, but I did not know how to react in that situation. And I was just like trying to get the hell out of there. And I was just like pissed because I don't know what's worse is the fact that they were acting like they were just like over there studying the Quran and that they weren't doing anything slightly nefarious and inappropriate for your sober living coach that is here. And then the girl you're dating that is also under the same roof. Like it is all very strange to me. So I walk downstairs and I'm like, what is this mansion of madness? Like, I should find out if this is normal behavior from Kristen and see what she thinks is, because the gag is that I do not love that. I walk outside and everyone's just sitting at the table. So when you walk outside, there's the big pool that spills out over onto the beautiful Encino scene. There's the little chairs that we're always sitting on usually. And then on the left, there is more seating areas and then a hot tub and everything. And then if you kind of go up the knoll, there's a big outdoor table. It's next to the little mini golf area and some outdoor games. There's like cornhole and some like extra large X and O games. And I go over to the table, huge table. Over here in the corner is Jace at the very corner with little baby Kristen sitting on his lap. Next to them is, at the head of the table, is old Chef Drew Cutie, Maria next to him. And then Gabby. I go over and sit here on the other side, so I'm sitting next to Kristen and Jace and across from Gabby and Maria. And they're like, there she is. I'm like, Kristen. And she's like, what? I'm like, I need to speak to you. And she was like, okay. She jumps off Jace's lap and we roll our asses back inside the house and we go into the Hollywood bathroom. We go in there and she's like, what happened? I'm like, girl, you will never believe what I just fucking walked into. And she was like, what? I'm like, I walk in and I see little Miss Dana Pants massaging a shirtless Harley. She was like, ew, what? I was like, yes, girl. She's like, oh God, oh no. I'm like, yep. She's like, oh, ew, okay. I'm like, are you surprised by this? Like, I'm not really sure if I can get a read on your reaction right now. She's like, honestly, I'm not like super surprised, but it is fucking gross. And she was like, but they do have things like that other girls that Harley has dated, including Gabby, that were just like, this is freaking weird and inappropriate and we're not okay with this. And she was like, I actually remember that there was a specific girl that he had gone out with named Hannah that he had met off of Raya, and he went on like 2 dates with her, and she was super creeped out by Dana because apparently Dana kissed him on the mouth in front of her when they were leaving to go on a date outside the house. I'm like, ew, what? And I was like, girl, if she kissed his ass on the mouth in front of me, I would have slapped her. And she was like, no, I know. And she was like, yeah, Dana actually has been kind of on good behavior around you. I'm like, this is Dana on good behavior? She's like, yeah, no, usually she's trying to be more like touchy and stuff on Harley. So this is actually the most she stepped out. And I'm like, girl, what is she usually like? And she's like, well, I'm like, Kristen, we have known each other now for a week, but we are besties. And she's like, no, you're like literally my new best friend. I'm like, I need you to tell me what it is that you're not telling me. And she's like, okay, fine. And I can tell she's like a little glazed because she's clearly been drinking and clearly had a little bit of a puff. And I'm like, girl, you need to tell me what's going on now. And she goes, okay, well, there is a little bit of a rumor that I heard from Maria one day. Maria told me when we were drinking one night, but I'm not sure if it's true or not, but she said that she heard some noises coming from Harley's room and she thought that Harley had a girl over, but then Dana walked out. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they've ever done anything. Like, I've asked Harley and he's told me up and down that he would never do anything with Dana and that he's not even attracted to her. But Maria said that she had heard some noises, saw Dana come out, and didn't see another girl the next day. However, there could have been another girl there and maybe Maria just didn't see her the next day. But I don't know. We need to ask Maria about it. I'm like, you think Maria is down to clown and tell us the situation? She was like, Maria's been drinking. She'll tell us anything. I'm like, okay, let's go find out the tea. And also let's go find out more information on Cutie Chef Drew. Because unfortunately, y'all, my toxic trait is that I am a Sagittarius and I am a spicy little biatch. And so me seeing that, my man's getting massaged by his sober living coach. I'm like, well, perhaps I also too need a massage from a man in this house that is not my man out here. So you know what? Let me go out there and let's just pay a little bit of attention to Chef Drew. I was just feeling angry and spiteful and spicy, and these are the events that occurred during this time. Okay? So remember that your girl is a human and I love you guys and I know you would never judge me, but this is just the truth of the matter. So we go back and I go immediately to Chef Drew and I was like, Chef Drew, I want to hear about your story. And he was like, my story? And I was like, yeah, I want to hear about you. And he was like, okay. And I sit on his lap. And everyone's like kind of looking at me and he clearly likes it, but also is uncomfortable because I'm clearly making him uncomfortable because this is his employer's house. And I realized, I'm like, sorry, Chef Drew, I'm not going to sit on your lap if you don't want me to. And he was like, oh, I don't mind at all. You can sit wherever you want to park your cute butt, but I just don't want Mr. Harley to come over here and roast my ass. And I was like, you don't really seem that scared of him. And he was like, where else is he going to find someone that can make his favorite ribs and 3 cheese cacio e pepe? I was like, I heard that, brother. I'm like, okay, so you are from South Africa. Like, tell me about how you grew up. Are your parents still there? And he was like, yeah, I grew up in a small town outside of Johannesburg, and we were very, very poor. I'm the only child. My dad was working at mechanical work and construction and just kind of whatever he could do. My mom was working as a housekeeper, and she would take me to work to clean houses and all these rich houses. And while I was there, I started hanging out in the kitchen with the people because my mom would tell me to go hang out in the kitchen because that was the place that I could be out of the way. So I just kind of started assisting staff in kitchen areas. So I've been cooking and being in kitchen since I was 7, and that really started to light the fire under my ass of loving to cook. And we didn't really have a lot of food or money, obviously, so I would take the scraps that I was able to get from my mom's job, and I would just have to make very creative choices in the things that I was making, make things really taste good, and knowing and understanding how long things need to be. And that's just kind of how I learned to add flavor and depth of flavor and really make my culinary skills shine. There was this wonderful chef. She was this beautiful old Black woman that was the head chef at one of the mansions that my mom was working at, and she really taught me knife work and how to flavor, and she was just incredibly knowledgeable about like the depth of it. And I was like, okay, so that's why you cook like a Black woman. And he was like, exactly. And I was like, all right, I see you. He's like, yeah. And then, I realized that there wasn't a lot of opportunity for me being a chef there. So I actually left and came to the States, and it was hard. I was interning a lot of different places. And then I just kind of fell into catering. I came to LA and I met Harley, and, he really changed my life because he gave me a salary that I hadn't ever received before, and he gave me a chance, and I owe a lot to him. And I'm like, you probably feel bad that I'm sitting on your lap then, huh? And he was like, nah, he's like, I don't really mind. He's like, I actually don't really know if Harley would mind. And then literally Maria, Gabby, and Kristen are all like, do you know this man? And he's like, I don't know, whatever. He's like, you went to bed, right? I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna get off your lap so you don't get in trouble. I get off, and Maria's like, do you want me to move down? And I'm like, actually, can I move up a chair and sit between y'all? Because I want to talk to you too, Maria. And she's like, okay, great. So Chef Drew stands up, the gentleman that he is. He goes and gets another chair. He gives me his chair, and then he puts his chair next to me. So now it is Jason, baby, Kristen, 1 unit here. It is Chef Drew, me, Maria, and Gabby. And we're all just chatting. I'm like, so Maria, you've been here for a while. You must have seen some things, right? And she's like, oh, I have seen things. I'm like, oh my God, good things, bad things, weird things. And she was like, all the things. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, I saw something interesting when I was upstairs, you guys. And everyone's like, what? I'm like, I saw little Miss Dana giving Harley a shirtless massage. He was shirtless. She was in her robe. Everyone's just kind of like, looking around, and Gabby's like, ew. And Maria looks like she's like, she knows things. Chef Drew's like, okay, we're gonna need another bottle for this. I was like, Maria, we're gonna take shots. you can tell me what you want to tell me, only what you're comfortable with, and then you can ask me something and I will talk about something maybe that you want to know that is kind of like precarious or something. You can ask me, or I will share something kind of promiscuous and a secret, so that way you don't feel left out, and we'll all go around and say something. Everyone's like, okay. So Chef Drew comes back and he brings 1942 because that is Maria's favorite, and we all have our little shots in the little Buddha belly shot glasses. We cheers, we llamas, we nostrovia, we chichi, and we take the shot. And I look at Maria and I was like, Maria, I don't want to put you on the spot. Like, honestly, whatever you want to tell me, you can, but I am just trying to figure out what I'm getting into. And she's like, she sets her shot glass down and she goes, you girls. She looks at Kristen. She's like, you, this one especially. And Kristen's laughing. And she's like, I have seen girls go in and out of Mr. Harley's vault a lot in the past. And there was one night that I came home late. I had gone to a party at my sister's. I came home really late and I heard some noises from Mr. Harley's, which isn't like crazy. And then I went to go get a little snack. And as I was going back upstairs, I saw Miss Dana leaving his room and closing the door. And then in the morning, I didn't see any other girls there, but they could have left while I was sleeping. I'm not really sure. And I was like, what kind of noises? And she was like, noises of passion. And we were like, ew. And I'm like, oh my God, do you think that they've hooked up? I'm like, Chef Drew, have they hooked up? And Chef Drew was like, I don't think they have. I'm like, really? And he was like, no, I don't think so. He was like, Dana is like the least sexually appealing person to Harley. And I can tell you that because she busts his balls all day. And I know that you saw him getting a massage from her, but I'm just saying that if the man was getting a massage, it was non-sexual because he does not look at her that way. I've known the man for a long time, and she really does kind of act like she's his end-all be-all coach, trainer, all the things above. So I'm sure that she really was just helping him and that it was innocent. And I'm like, okay, but like there's got to be some sort of boundaries here. You know what I mean? And Kristen's like, yeah, that's freaking weird. Like, why is your sober living coach giving you a massage? Like, that's so weird. Especially when the girl that you are like trying to actively date and court is also in the same house. Like, that's weird. And he was like, I know, but Harley just kind of does whatever you want. We are all turned at this point, y'all. And we stand up and we're just kind of drunkenly hitting golf balls into the little putt-putt things. And I am now full on flirting with Chef Drew. Just shamelessly, because I don't care at this point, because I'm now drunk and I have worked myself into a frustrated tizzy where I have convinced myself that Dana and Harley are secret lovers and I am just a fool that's there, and I am going to go back to the hotel and I'm going to get my stuff and go and stay elsewhere at a friend's or something. And I'm not staying at Harley's anymore because I'm mad. And I'm just kind of like, you know, la la la. And then Chef Drew pulls out a little, taking a little drag. He hands it to Kristen, Jace, and old little Gabby, and Maria does not partake. And he looks at me, and I was like, oh no, I'm very sensitive to any sort of, like, I get really sleepy or whatever, so I would need like the tiniest puff ever. And he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, you could shotgun it to me though. And he was like, yeah? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right. He takes a puff and he just shotguns it to me, y'all. And I'm like, this man has the softest lips ever. And yes, y'all, I know, your girl, she was drunk. At this point, I'll be honest, y'all, I just didn't care. I was like, whatever. If he sees, he gets mad. Like, I think I just didn't care because at this point I'd made up my mind that I wanted to leave the house and I just didn't want to be there. And I was mad at Harley, and I maybe was trying to sabotage it because I was getting angry, and I knew that that's something that he would definitely be upset about, and I did it anyways. So that happens, and Kristen and Gabby are like, ooh, and Jace is like just smiling at us, and Maria's just kind of chilling there like bubbleheady, and Chef Drew is looking at me, and I'm like, this man is hot. Like, this chef is fine, y'all, and he's an accent and he cooks. Like, what am I doing here not going after this man? You know what I mean? And we're just kind of smiling at each other. And then he's like, hey. And I'm like, yes. And he was like, I do need to tell you something. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, oh no, you feel bad and now you're gonna go tell Harley and now you feel like you're gonna get fired and I'm so sorry and did I like jeopardize your job? And he was like, no, I actually have a fiance. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, oh God, oh. I'm like, oh no. And now I feel bad because you know what? Making Harley mad, I can live with. Like, that is something that I can live with. But me accidentally flirting with another woman's man, that I cannot live with. And I was like, damn it, Chef Drew, where is she? He was like, she's in France. I'm like, is she French? And he was like, yeah, she is. She's over there working in fashion and we're in a long distance thing. And I'm like, damn it, Chef Drew. I'm like, okay, this is not anything then. And like, clearly I am dating your employer and I'm just mad at him and I'm canoodling with you and you have a fiance and this is just all sorts of fucked up and wrong and like I'm being a bad girl and I need to slow my roll. So I'm like, okay, just get away from me, sir. And he was like, okay, I'm sorry. I am really attracted to you. And I was like, yeah, I'm attracted to you too, obviously, but this cannot go anywhere. Now you just need to be making me the foods and all that, and then this can't be anything else. And he was like, absolutely 100%. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just go into my room because I'm also tired now because now I've just taken the little hit. And as I said before, your girl goes crash crash as soon as that happens. And everyone's already just kind of like fading out. And Maria's like, I'm gonna go to bed. We're like, good night, Maria. And Chef Drew's like, okay, I think I probably need to go as well. I need to go home. We're like, okay. Gabby's like, I'm gonna go sleep in the guest room. And Kristen and Jason are like, we're gonna go to bed. And Kristen's like, are you gonna go back to the hotel? And I was like, girl, I'm too tired to get into an Uber and go all the way back to fuck-ass WeHo. I'm just gonna go sleep in my room. I'm like, damn my non-committal, freedom-loving Sagittarius ways and out here being a wildling. And I'm like, okay, let's keep it together. Nothing really crazy happened. Just sat on his lap and shotgun smoked with him. It's not like we made out. It's fine, right? I'm still mad at Harley. I'm thinking that I don't want to deal with this weird fucked up relationship that he has with Dana and this situation just isn't worth it and I need to get out of there and I am making all these decisions very quickly in my drunk mind. I walk upstairs and crazy enough, the bank vault is open. And I'm like, I swear to God, if I hear crazy noises in there, I am going to light someone on fire. And I kind of creep in and I'm looking inside and I just see in the darkness his body there just laying, sleeping, but no noises. And I'm like, is he dead? Because usually he's snoring or something. So I'm kind of tiptoeing over more and the bed is right here and there's like a little back bench right here. As I'm getting to the bench, I just hear Harley go, hey. And I was like, oh. I'm like, oh, you're still awake. And he was like, yeah. He turns over and he doesn't have all his nightly attire on. And he just leans over and puts his glasses on and hits the switch on his light next to him. And he sits up and he was like, yeah, I was hoping that you were going to come in before I fell asleep. I was like, yeah, I'm here. He was like, did you have fun? I was like, yep. And he's like, okay, well, do you want to get in bed? I was like, no, I'm going to go sleep in my room. I was just coming in to check and see if you were asleep or not. I was surprised to see the bank vault open. And he's like, are you okay? And I was like, do I look okay? And he was like, no, you don't look okay. And I was like, I'm not okay. And he was like, you're drunk. And I was like, I am drunk and I'm also not okay. And he was like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know, the fact that your sober living coach is massaging your back, like that was weird as hell. And she was just in a robe and you didn't have a shirt on. And he was like, seriously, that's what you're tripping about? I'm like, Harley, that was so inappropriate. And he was like, what's inappropriate about it? She works for me. I'm like, so people that work for you give you massages? Like you have a masseuse, Harley, who it's their literal job to come and keep your body in check. She is crossing so many boundaries on so many levels. And he was like, okay, well, I don't think it's a very big deal. Like she does it all the time. I'm like, okay, this is adding to things that Kat is not okay with. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Clearly this is not working out. And clearly this is things that I am not okay with. And I am just going to go and stay at my friend's house. And I thank you for letting me stay here, but this has just gotten way too weird. And he was like, are you seriously pissed about this? You act like you caught me inside her. I'm like, well, have you been? And he goes, what? I said, have you been inside of Dana? And he goes, I told you. I said, no, no, no. I want you. And I walk over and I kneeled next to the bed next to him because he was sitting up on his side. And I got really close to his face. And I said, I'm gonna give you a chance to tell me the truth. And if you tell me right now that no, nothing has ever happened, ever, with Dana, then I will let it go. But I want you to look me in my eyes. I want you to tell me if something has ever happened. Because I don't care ever about your past, about the things that you've done. I don't care as long as you're truthful with me. So you can do whatever the hell you had done. I am not a judgmental person. I just want honesty. So tell me, have you and Dana ever crossed the line? And he just looks at me and he goes, once. We were really drunk. It happened once. And I was like, that's what I thought. So yes, y'all. Now we see the threads are starting to unravel and we're going to get into it more. Exactly what their history is. Exactly what happened when they were drunk and this had happened. And clearly Dana had relapsed in the next episode. I love you and I see you. Big hug, big kiss.